Hey, welcome back. We have a fun little adventure this weekend that we're planning. We are up in the mountains up American Fork Canyon near our home in Pleasant Grove, Utah. And I borrowed from a friend of mine a rooftop tent. Now, I've never stayed in a rooftop tent before. There's been a lot of videos on YouTube. There are hundreds, if not thousands, about rooftop tents. And I'm not trying to tell you why or why not to buy a rooftop tent, but I'm personally curious to know why I might want a rooftop tent. Now, there's a couple reasons I'm doing this. Number one, I've never done it before, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. Number two, I've always really liked the appeal of being higher up. I like, higher buildings. If I'm staying in a hotel while I'm traveling, I like being on higher floors. I like being able to see more. I like climbing up on top of the cliffs when I'm out hiking. I thought that the idea of sleeping higher up would be very appealing. And the few times I've climbed into a rooftop tent, just other people's or at, trade events, the Off-Road Expo in Salt Lake City, things like that, I've always thought this is pretty cool. I'm also curious to know if it is as easy to set up and take down, if it is as soft and as comfortable. I've slept inside the Jeep, as if you've been watching the channel and our videos for a while, you know that I sleep inside the Jeep when I overland or camp fairly frequently. And so that's a standard practice for me. And the older I get, the more difficult that becomes. So I'm curious to know if the rooftop tent becomes more comfortable in this. So again, this is a one I borrowed from a friend. It is not mine. I've not bought it. I'll be curious to see how easy it is to set up and take down. Curious to see how difficult it is to sleep in or not. I've leveled the Jeep. I've basically found a spot that's pretty level. It's a beautiful spot here in the mountains, surrounded by pine trees. I've leveled it out, and now I'm taking the rest of my leveling blocks and just kind of tucking them in between the tires to kind of just give it some extra stability. I think it's unlikely to wobble back and forth while I sleep, but you know what? I've got the leveling blocks. I might as well do it. Now, one thing I forgot to do is to bring my tripod with me. So I'm going to try and set this up as best I can so you guys can see the takedown and setup and things like that. Again, I've never used this before. I set it up a little bit when I picked it up from my buddy, and he showed me how to do it. It's a matter of undoing the straps, taking this cover off, and then popping it out. But I'll do it on a little, little fast motion one. Time lapse, that's what I was thinking of. So you can kind of see the setup and takedown. Not takedown, but the setup. Well, that was easier than I thought it was going to be. Having those steps on the side of the Jeep, that Smittybilt Atlas side steps, or door steps, I think they call them, it made it so much easier. Being able to stand right there on the outside of the Jeep, right, there and there. Be able to put my feet on those spots so I could climb up, get to the roof easy. That made it really, really nice. I think one thing I would want, if I could have it, is I climb up and down on this thing. I'm constantly reaching up and grabbing the guardrail. It'd be nice if there was like a handle here or something I could grab onto easier. Maybe it's a handle built into this or something like that, where I could say, hey, look, I'm climbing up. I'm gonna grab my hands here, put my feet down here, make it easier to climb. But overall, first off, I love the shade right here. This is like natural, awesome shade. And the tent seems like it was really easy. I just literally popped it over, put the little pole in the awning, and it's all done. So pretty cool. Jake, what do you think of the rooftop tent?
Gnarly.
You heard it here first, folks. So there's some pockets up there we can use to organize stuff. One thing I noticed is that this particular tent is quilted, which means in the wintertime, that would keep you pretty warm and might even help with some of the sun that's gonna come through. There's a couple of shoe bags here. Just simply unvelcro that. And then that way when you climb up, you put your shoe in this bag so you're not getting your tent dirty, which is kind of cool. There's one over here too. So I'll undo those and let those open up and break down and be ready for some footwear. I've tied up the door here and I've just got the screen, which I'll try and keep closed so bugs don't come in there at night. But right now I'm just gonna unload my stuff, get my sleeping bag rolled out. The back is kind of a big chaotic mess at the moment. Now I was thinking my son would join me in the rooftop tent, but he said that he wants to hammock camp. So he's got his hammock. He's going and finding a couple good trees out in the distance off there, and we'll see where he ends up and go check him out here in a bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy about this. It was easy enough to find a flat spot. Whoa! Step 22 bags are awesome. It was easy enough to find a flat spot, and then I just ended up using one set of leveling blocks right there to kind of just get it perfectly level. What I don't have is a reliable way to ensure that I am level, so I'm kind of doing it by gut. I tried to use my iPhone as a level up on the dash, but I don't know if the place I put it on my dash was exactly level, so I need to figure that out. Maybe I can find a good level spot, reliable spot at when I'm at home on solid paved ground or whatever, and then I can mark that and say, hey, this is where you put your phone to do some leveling. I also considered getting a set of levels that I would adhesive to here and then here or something like that, kind of like what you see in a camper. The problem with that philosophy is, every time I'd want to see if I was level, I'd have to get out of the Jeep and go look. So another idea would be an inclinometer, I think it's called, inside the Jeep. The JL has one of those, so that's pretty awesome. The JK does not. And I have an aftermarket stereo, which also does not have that. Although my buddy Ryan, who you've seen in several of our videos, has one in his. So maybe that's an upgrade in the future. We'll see. Some kind of inclinometer. If this becomes something that I want to do on a regular basis, camping with a rooftop tent, there'll be some interesting overland upgrades to accompany it for sure. So I'm having fun with this. So this is an expandable, collapsible trash bag. Fits a standard 13-gallon trash bag that you can just get anywhere. This is the Velcro strap that holds the steps together, and I just looped it around the handle of this so that my trash doesn't blow away. I got a couple of tables here. I'm going to set those up as well and then get my chair set up. Still got to set up my bed and things, but it's coming together nicely. This is going to be fun. I mean, such a rookie move to forget the tripod, so I'm literally just trying to find spots around the Jeep that I can, stick the camera so we could see it. So I apologize for the really awful filming job. Hopefully it's not too distracting. Got my chair, my table all set up here. I got a second table I'm going to get set up. Then I want to get all my stuff upstairs. Upstairs. This is so weird that I have an upstairs. So that I can get my bed set up. I'm throwing all my bags in the back of the Jeep since I'm not really going to be using it. There's plenty of space back there to be able to put stuff. So, pretty cool. Can't see anything. This is awful. I need either a tripod or tripod or someone else to help me film. All right, it's not perfect yet. It's coming together though. Getting all the basics out. Oh, another bag. That's my chair bag. That'll go in the back there. One note on these things: if you don't remember to flip them up, I want you to imagine what would happen if I had this door open and this door open. And that was sitting open like that, and then it slam! Whoa, hit that. See, already, even just joking around, I almost chipped my paint. So, got to remember to keep those closed so you don't end up having a problem. Although it could be a good place to hang something while we're sitting here at camp. I really liked these. And there's a bottle opener right there. Not that I have any bottles to open, but I mean, I got Gatorade bottles, but You wouldn't use a bottle opener for that, right? All right. I'm just leaning the camera against the back there. This is a new sleeping bag for me, the Dolomite One Duo by North Face. It's a 2-person sleeping bag, and it's made for 2 different climates. So depending on which weather I'm in, I can either sleep on the top level or the bottom level, or flip it upside down. And so it'll give me more or less heat. I'm likely just gonna sleep on top of it with my little Rumple sleeping bag blanket on top. So this just becomes a really nice, big, soft mattress pad. And I'm gonna get it all perfect. Throw my pillow here. I'm gonna sleep like a baby. You think I brought too many pillows? So I've been sleeping in a mummy bag for years, and I've recently started using these sleeping bag blankets instead, or at least in addition to my mummy bag, to help with extra warmth. Oftentimes if I'm too hot, I'll get on top of my sleeping bag. It feels a little softer because it creates more padding, and then this still gives me a little bit of warmth, and it allows me to spread out. I don't feel, tightened up because my legs. If I'm backpacking and I know it's gonna be cold, then I definitely wanna be in a mummy bag. But in a situation like this where it's not supposed to get terribly cold, a little sleeping bag blanket like this, like the Rumple one or this one made by Kelty. This is called the Bestie blanket. This is a really nice one because the price on it is super reasonable. I think that the Bestie blanket was 25 bucks, whereas the Rumple, if you get the right one or get it on sale, is gonna cost you between $80 to $200. Some of that is based on the pattern you want, or the weight, the thickness, how easily packable it is, things like that. I really love the Rumple blanket. If I'm choosing between one or the other, it's the Rumple blanket every time. But having both of them accessible, again, this just makes for a comfy, soft, cushy area. I feel like I'm gonna be living in luxury here. And you can't beat the view out these windows. Look at this. I mean, that's gonna be my view for the next couple days. I love it. And I gotta say, so far, I'm really enjoying being up high. This is my Step 22 toiletry bag. I've also got a Step 22 flat box with food in it, and a Step 22 tech box, so that it's got all my chargers and things like that in it. So I'm gonna get all that stuff kind of set up around the edges here, and I'm gonna be sleeping in style tonight. So far, I'm gonna give the rooftop tent an A+. The question will be, is it really that comfortable to sleep in? And I won't be able to tell you that till tomorrow morning. Well, good morning. So that wasn't bad. The mattress, I didn't use a sleeping pad underneath me. The mattress inside there was a good. I think I probably would have slept a little better if I had put a pad underneath me, and I think I'll probably will tonight, because I'll do it again tonight. And what is today? It's Thursday. Yeah, so we're sleeping here two more nights. So, yeah, it was a little cold, colder than I expected to be. But I also didn't sleep all the way underneath the warmest part of my sleeping bag, so I could have slept better. And it was a big sleeping bag. I'm used to sleeping in a mummy bag that is small, and a 15-degree mummy bag, and I didn't sleep in that. So that might also have contributed to I think it did get very cold last night. You could see my breath even this morning. So camping by a river always ends up being a little chilly. Overall, I love the space in there. I love the LED light. I'll have to show that to you in a bit. There's a LED light strip in there that illuminates the whole space really nicely. I had a little lantern, and it wasn't, nearly bright enough. And then when I plugged in the little LED light strip, it was awesome. All in all, for the first night in the rooftop tent, I'm a huge fan. One thing I noticed last night when I was sleeping is that the tent did not feel like it wobbled at all. It felt super, super stable. And I think it could have been 3 different things. Number one, it could just be that sitting on top of a vehicle doesn't wobble, although I've heard that it would. I set my Falcon shocks to 3. That's the firmest setting. So having an advantage of having adjustable shocks is that, on gravel roads, I can set it to 1. That's the softest setting. It allows it to really absorb a lot of those, small bumps. When I'm off roading, like, doing some rock crawling, I'll set it to 3. And if I'm coming off ledges and things like that, the firm setting on the shocks really helps prevent the Jeep from moving a lot or shaking a lot. So by setting it on its firmest setting, I think I made it so that the Jeep isn't going to move much. And you recall, I also put these leveling blocks in front of the wheels back and forth, which prevents the Jeep from, rolling back and forth this way too, just a little bit. And again, I don't know how much that's actually working, but it did feel really, really stable up there. American Fork Canyon is one of my favorite places. Admittedly, it's kind of a ridiculous name. I don't know where it came from. I'm sure someone could tell me, but it is a beautiful place. Massive, towering cliffs on either side of it. Beautiful river running through it. Lots of camping, picnic spots, lakes. It leads you to the Alpine Loop, which drives all the way through the north side of the Utah Valley over to the Sundance ski resort that has been made so famous by so many different things. The area itself is just so much fun. There's so much diversity, and especially when you live down in the valley where it's a little more deserty. We're only 10 minutes away from this canyon, which means that within a few minutes, we can be in this amazing alpine environment with these massive cliffs and pine trees and things like that. It's awesome. And every time I come up here, I think, I got to come up here more often. It's a running joke with our family. I got to come up here more often. We got to do this more often. But it's a beautiful spot. If you haven't gotten up to American Fork Canyon, go try it out. It's not like some hardcore, crazy destination. It's just a nice, relaxing place to go with incredible scenery. There's something I didn't think about, but will definitely be something for the future. So right now it is 12:45. So sun is in its highest point in the sky. The Jeep is in full sun. the tent is in full sun. First off, the quilted exterior of the tent does help to insulate it a little bit, which is nice, but it is also dark, which means it's also going to suck up the sun a little bit. I could open up some of the vents. There's not really a breeze right now, so I don't know if that's gonna help. So I'm leaving those closed for now. But I didn't think about when I parked here in the afternoon, I think about like where the sun would be at the hottest part of the day, which is, call it 3 to 5 o'clock here in Utah. It gets pretty warm. And thinking about where the sun was and what trees would create shade, I parked here because at the time when I found this was a shady spot. But that was also a little earlier in the morning. So now that we've got more sun, I'll remember next time I come camping with something like this where I can say, hey, look, I want to park in a place where the shade is going to be during the hottest part of the day, because I know that the nature of the rooftop tent will suck in more heat, as it were. So anyway, an observation I made that I think I'm learning from. So still a great learning experience. Really having a lot of fun with this. One thing I did do is roll down the windows a little bit here and here, so that will help the heat on the car to escape. And since this is in the shaded spot, maybe that would be a good thing. You can see the boys set up hammocks, 4 or 5 high, stacked in those trees over there. But in order to get across, they have to go through the river. Dude, seriously, super cool. Is this you, the blue one? Yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
All my stuff.
Yeah. So, night number 2 in the rooftop tent, I wanted to show you how bright that light bar is. I've got it plugged into just a little USB charger. It's a charger flashlight combo dealio, and I mean, it basically is just powering this whole thing, and you could just see how bright it's completely dark outside. You can see how bright it is in here. Plenty of light everywhere. I want to show you compared to this lantern that I have, which this is what I used to use in my Jeep all the time. Okay, and look at the difference here. It's like night and day. I mean, huge difference in the amount of light being given out. So these LEDs, pretty awesome in here. I went ahead and added in my sleeping pad, my Climate inflatable sleeping pad. I have 2 of them, so 1 on each side. I still have kind of the big double bed. It's not quite as cold tonight, so I should be plenty warm, but looking forward to a good night's sleep. Hoping that is even more comfortable than it was. I also noticed another thing. This side here, this is where the door is, was sagging down a little bit. And so the ladder that's out there, I took it and kind of propped it up and put it like that. So it pulled that up a little bit. I believe the tent is supposed to be able to be there without the need of the ladder for support. But it was sinking down a little bit. I thought maybe that if I switched my head on this side, it'd be better, but I felt like I was going downhill. So that ladder hopefully is helping make that a little bit more level too. So anyway, I will see you guys in the morning and let you know how the sleep was better or worse than last night. But so far, I'm really enjoying the rooftop tent. Well, good morning. Woke up to a light rain occurring outside. I did not sleep as well as I did the previous night. And I think part of it was because I got this sleeping bag, I slept down inside it. And the first night I was kind of sleeping on top of it, and it provided some extra padding. Even though I put my inflatable pads here, it just wasn't quite the same. So interesting results there. Not awful. Kind of gives me an idea of what kind of foam I want. It is very interesting that I added more padding, and yet it wasn't as comfortable. I've never really slept well on inflatable pads. I seem to sleep better on foam or similar. So anyway, probably gonna get up here shortly and make some breakfast and get going. But it's been interesting experimenting with the rooftop tent. Another thing I think I would like in here is a broom, a little small whisk broom or something to kind of get all the little, pieces of grass and dirt and dust and things like that. I thought of something else I'd love to do with a rooftop tent like this is create some hooks up here that would allow me to hang coats or, chairs or things like that so they don't blow away. Be a nice little place to organize things, up in here. Just a thought. Well, that's my final night borrowing this rooftop tent, and I gotta say, that was a great night of sleep. The air and the weather was really, really nice, and so I was able to keep that window open all night long. In fact, not just the window, the whole screen, everything. So fresh air all night long. I slept on top of most everything, so it felt nice and soft. Great night of sleep. Overall, I've really enjoyed climbing up and down the ladder, having stuff up there, also having stuff in the back, having the back be dedicated to like my kitchen and prep area and storage area and things like that. The inside of the Jeep is storage area. Really enjoyed that. Enjoyed having plenty of space up top for my sleeping bag in the middle and then stuff on either side of me. Being able to like kind of have a whole section for gear and having a space at the bottom that I could sit down. Didn't feel crowded at all up there. Now, just one person up there, maybe it would be different if I had multiple people. If it was me and my wife, maybe a kid or two, I might feel a little crowded, might be a little different, but just by myself, this is an awesome, awesome setup. Overall, really like it. I can see myself thinking that the rooftop tent is the way to go, and I could look into potentially getting one for myself. How far in the future, I don't know. I would definitely want to do things differently. Mounted here on these Rhino rack rails that are mounted to my rain gutters is not the safest way, not the most secure way. I would not want to do that. If I got a rooftop tent, I would get a full or half rack bolted into the frame, bolted into the Jeep properly so that it could secure the weight properly. It would change my off-roading. I would be probably less of a rock crawler and becoming more of an overlander, which is kind of, as I get older, kind of more my speed anyway. So I don't know. We'll see what the future holds, but special thanks to my buddy Carson for loaning me the tent, letting me play with it, letting me experiment with it. Hope I treated it well and returned it to you in great condition. Special thanks to FSR. They didn't sponsor the video or anything. This belongs to Carson, but being able to have access to this with all of its amenities, all of the bells and whistles it has, pretty happy with it. Thanks again for watching. Thank you for subscribing, for liking the video, and for all the comments you make. Really appreciate everything you guys do. And I'm gonna finish packing up here and I'm gonna head on home. Thanks everyone. that supposed to happen? Did I have too much air in there maybe? So I figured it out. The awning that sits out has that pole, and that pole was sticking out like straight down, so that when it was folding down, it was hitting that pole. So I had to flip that inside, and there you go. Now I just got to put the cover on. A lot of work, but still pretty awesome.